Hello and welcome to the Daily Grind here on Latte Firm. It's Friday night, the 22nd of August, and it is the night before the first game of the season at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal will take on Leeds United tomorrow. And of course, it's been an amazing 24, 36 hours for Arsenal. Eberechi Eze is on his way to Arsenal, and I'm delighted to be joined by good friend and colleague, Charles Watts. Welcome back to the firm, my man. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm delighted to finally be back. I always forget how pumped your music gets me when I'm ready to go. When I'm ready to do this, it always gets me right up. It feels like I'm at a Champions League night.
It's very kind of you, my friend. Really, really kind of you. Listen, we've scheduled this terribly. Friday night football is on, and West Ham have got the lead through an amazing goal from Lucas Paqueta. I don't know if you're watching it in the background. Have you got it on?
I saw the goal. Yeah, I was kind of laughing at their goalkeeper, who nothing will ever baffle me more than signing 8 million players and sticking with the goalkeepers that they've got. I just do not understand it. But it was a brilliant strike by Paqueta, but they seriously need to sort their goal. In fact, I hope they don't, but they do actually need to go and do it to sort it out, because they're never going to win the league with a keeper like that.
Famous last words, but they won't. They absolutely won't.
No.
Finally, high wattage, says Louis. Welcome to the show, everybody watching. If you're tuning in for the first time, these are short daily shifts. If you enjoy the content, please do subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video, all that sort of stuff. Tonight, we're going to talk about your thoughts on the Eberechi as a deal. We're going to get your thoughts on the impact of Andrea Bura, Mikel Arteta. Are we ready to win the league? Because I think, Charles, it's time to cook. And that is basically the theme of tonight's show. Quick community note before we tuck into the content. There is a Patreon giveaway. Thank you to all our channel members and Patreon members. I can only do giveaways on Patreon because of YouTube rules. But if you are a Patreon supporter, you are in the hat for a pair of tickets to come and listen to Mikel Arteta with Steve Kerr at the Londoner Hotel in London on the 5th of September. It'll be an intimate audience with the gaffer and, a pair of tickets to give away. If you choose not to come, or if you are overseas or you can't make it, I will reward you with some sort of Arsenal.com vouchers that you can spend on your friends and loved ones. Right, Charles, let's talk on to what happened over the last sort of day or two. I mean, it's just come out of nowhere, but it's been immensely exciting. Eberechi Eze, we've done it again. We've nabbed another player that was apparently closing in on the old enemy. What did you make of it all, mate?
I love that picture, by the way, of Eze. I must have looked at that picture about 8 million times in the last 2 days. It never fails to make me laugh. It's just so perfect. What do I make of it? I don't remember enjoying an evening, certainly social media wise, as much as I enjoyed that night. It was fantastic. The way it happened, the roller coaster of emotions on the day, of course, is sort of starting off with Havertz injury. We'd had the news about Trossard's contract, which I know hadn't gone down that well with a lot of the fan base as well. So there was the grumblings on social media, then the injury hit, and then bang, out of nowhere, this happened. I mean, I've watched your video of you reacting live to it many a times as well. And I think your reaction kind of summed up how a lot of the Arsenal fan base felt. I mean, I've been banging a drum for Eze all summer. I was desperate for Arsenal to sign him. I really, really was. I thought he'd be the exact thing that this squad needs. Something that's just really, really been missing: the individualism, the quality, the off the cuff type football that he can play, and we just don't have that in the squad. So I was desperate for Arsenal to sign him. And as the window ticked on, and I knew about Arsenal's interest, but it just looked like it wasn't really going anywhere. And I'd kind of made my peace with it that he wasn't going to come. But then then suddenly it was going to Tottenham, and it's just like, of all the clubs, don't let that happen. Just please, I like him too much to see him playing for Spurs. And so to come in, and I'd actually been playing golf that morning with one of my best mates who's a Spurs fan, and was listening to him talk about how good Eze was going to be for them that whole morning. And it was just really, really winding me up. And then suddenly that evening, for it all to flip the way it did, and it's such an exciting signing. It really, really is. And you can see by the reaction of it, I generally, not since Mesut Ozil have I seen an excitement sort of level like this for an Arsenal signing. It's just...
Well, I was just going to ask, Charles. I mean, this is the sort of signing, or the bomb of the announcements has been now sort of used to, where we'll cast back and think, oh, where were you on that night? And of course, I can say I was doing my channel, and it's very good, very kind of you to say those words. But like, where does it rank in terms of, I guess, Emirates era signings? You and I are both old enough, unfortunately, to remember some of the signings from sort of pre-Emirates, but where does it rank for you? Is it as good as the Ozil one, as you've just
It's up there with Ozil. I don't think it. I mean, the Ozil one meant so much because it was the end of the sort of austerity era, wasn't it? We'd finally sort of come through what we'd all gone through for those first few years at the Emirates, and it was suddenly the purse strings were being loosened, and it was done in such spectacular style as well. You know, Mesut Ozil, this a hugely talented player who would all seem terrorise England at the World Cup just a couple of years earlier, getting him in from Madrid. And, that was unbelievable the way it played out, the scenes outside the Emirates and everything like that. So this is the only, I think that stands alone, the Ozil transfer, and I think it probably will. But this is a close second for me in terms of certainly in Emirates era signings of just how exciting it was, and it was how quick it was, and the fact it was Tottenham, just everything like that combined just made it, like you said, it's one of those ones we'll always, I think, remember where we were, what we were doing when David dropped that first tweet that it was happening, or looked like it was happening. It was just incredibly.
It's been amazing. It is genuinely one of my favorite sort of transfer announcements ever. When do you think it's going to happen? Because apparently the medical took place today. He's been doing some sort of media work, depending on who you guys follow on socials. But what are you hearing?
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing his medical today. He's been at Colney. It's impossible to put a date when Arsenal finally announce these things. It could be. I would love to see him walk out on the pitch tomorrow, and sort of announce it that way. Obviously, he's not going to play, but it could easily happen. They could do that. He could be at the ground and do that. But in terms of when the club will actually announce it, the amount of times doing this job I do that we've kind of been given the nod that it's going to be at 3:00 on Tuesday, and then 3:00 on Tuesday rolls around and suddenly it's like, oh no, we had to put it back for various reasons. And so you just can't, it's impossible to predict with Arsenal, but it's going to be done very, very soon. It's going to be announced very, very soon. I would imagine he's certainly going to be in the squad for Liverpool next weekend. And I'd love to see him at the Emirates. I was trying to remember, I was talking to someone earlier about when do we ever sort of unveil players on the pitch, or certainly show off new players to fans at the pitch? And I can remember doing it with Robin van Persie back at Highbury a long, long time ago when he signed from Feyenoord. I remember I was there and he came out in these really dodgy pair of jeans that I'll always remember. I'll always remember. But apart from that, I can't really remember us doing it with a new.
Well, there was Victor Gyökeres on tour, of course.
Oh yeah, I suppose we did with Gyökeres on tour. That's true. But
but you are right. Yeah, home games, I can't imagine it. And if it happens tomorrow, given everything you just said about the story and where he's come from and how it sort of unfolded, there might be an almighty cheer, almost, decibels of a goal tomorrow.
Like you said, the story,
it's huge.
He's one of us. He's the story of sort of fighting back from the rejection at 13. He's talked about how much that hurt him and how Arsenal meant everything to him to sort of go away to rebuild his career and come back, and now at 27 get this massive move back to the club that he loved and he started out. It's just such an amazing story, and I think that's why so many of us are so invested in it as well, and so many of us wanted to bring him back was because of this. And it'll bring the roof off if they bring him out tomorrow. I don't think they'll do it, but I would love it. And I'm in the stands tomorrow. I'm not in the press box. I'm with my dad in my seat tomorrow, and I'm going up early. Awesome. I'm going up early, enjoying some pre-match drinks and stuff like that. So it would just be brilliant. I would love to see him come out on the pitch beforehand.
That's awesome. But just before we sort of close on what you think the impact of Eze might have on this team, you're getting a lot of love in the chat. Lots of people saying that they absolutely adore your daily shows. Let's talk about the radar on the right-hand side, courtesy of Squawker. This basically, Charles, shows how good he is in terms of passes into the box, chance creation, take-ons completed, shots attempted. I mean, this is a guy who's basically going to hopefully add goals, assists, and running at defenses and helping us break those sort of low to mid blocks.
Yeah, exactly. He's exactly what we need. And I know there's been a lot of argument of where exactly does he fit in this team. And I listen to that and I'm just like, does it matter? Really? Does it matter? He's what we need. He's someone who can unlock those defenses. He can do something out of nothing. He can drop his shoulder, cut inside, bend one in the top corner from 25 yards, put a perfect cross on someone's head or on someone's foot. It's just exactly what we need. What we've struggled against teams for so long is, like you said, the low block and breaking teams open who are really, really tight. And I think a lot of the work we've done in the market this summer is to try and fix that. I think Madueke is going to really help with that as well. And then bringing Eze in, I don't care where he plays. He'll play somewhere because he's good enough to play, and we'll find a place for him. And he's going to absolutely prove to be an absolute difference maker in this team. I'm convinced of it. And the numbers show it. He's just what we need. He's not going to start every game, I don't think. He doesn't need to. I think a lot of the business we've done this summer is about not having an 11. It's about having a 16, 17, 18, where we can just chop and change it whenever we want. And Arteta's finally going to actually trust that amount of players that he's not going to run everyone else into the ground. I think that's been such a key part of our business. Yeah, I can't wait. And I don't buy the argument of, where does he fit in? He's not really a left winger. You've got Declan Rice at left 8. It's like, just trust me, he's going to play and he's going to be very, very good.
Let's race through the content because we are missing some peak Barclays on a Friday night. West Ham were
Why
2-1 up. Then it was
2-1?
disallowed, and now it's 2-1 to Chelsea, I think.
Oh,
Pedro Neto. So yeah, we're missing a cracking game there, not to divert people away. Quick thing on Kai Havertz. It's been a difficult week on that front. Injury, we all feared the worst, but again, depending on who you follow on socials, it's not the end of the world. It could just be a few weeks. What are you hearing, Charles?
yeah. I mean, to be honest, what Arsenal are saying, as far as I'm aware, they're not actually sort of just, well, basically lying, and I don't think they actually know yet. I think they're truthful. What Mikel said today in the presser, and the messages that we're getting is that they genuinely don't know. It's a case of we're going to see what happens in the next couple of weeks, how it settles down, how it reacts to what the doctors are going to be doing with him. He's not having an operation now, and they're hopeful that he's not going to need one. But they're not going to know for a few weeks yet because they've just got to see how the knee settles down with it. So, to be honest, even if it's 3 months, I know I'd convinced myself through the pessimist that I was, and the wording coming out, how it was being said, I was convinced we were looking at ACL here. So whatever happens now, if it's 3 months, I'm just going to think it's a bonus, and I'll be really happy because I was really, really sure when the initial sort of story broke, and then you sort of spoke to people about it and the wording you were getting back, you're just like, yeah, this does not sound good at all. And then the fact that Eze happened straight after, you're like, wow, it must be pretty bad. But I don't think it is. So, he might miss 3 months, sort of worst case scenario, sort of 12 weeks. But with 3 international breaks in the next 3 months, it's not the worst news possible. It's not great. You'd rather have him, but it's not the worst news. And I think it's probably not the news that we all kind of feared initially when the news broke.
I know, especially after such a devastating injury last season. Really good to have seen him sort of in and around the squad in the camp over the summer. I was, really expecting a massive season from him. We still might get that once he's back. Early thoughts on Victor Gyökeres. Of course, only one game at Old Trafford. The media, the non-Arsenal fans have been out to sort of, really lay it into him. What are your thoughts?
It's just far too early. It's 160-minute appearance, man, and it was, we were pretty ropey in attack throughout. It wasn't just his fault. He barely got a sniff. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. I think the Havertz injury is a bit of a blow for him because he's going to have to play now, and if he does have a bit of a tough start and he does struggle, can't really take him out the firing line. He's going to have to do it and play through it. But the one thing with him is that it certainly seems like, anyway, I haven't really got to meet him yet, but it certainly feels like that he's got that character there where he's going to brush off, I think, all the criticism. He's not really going to listen to it, and he'll be fine. I'm expecting tomorrow a completely different performance from Arsenal, a completely different performance from him as well. We saw a week earlier, against Bilbao in the Emirates Cup when Arsenal clicked and went forward. He scored a great goal. He could have had a second. He was involved in the game. It was a tough start at Old Trafford, but it wasn't his fault. As an attacking unit, we just didn't perform on the day. We didn't take advantage of the situations that we got ourselves in on the day, but it wasn't his fault. Don't listen to all the outside media nonsense and the fan nonsense that you see on social media from rival fans. It's that's exactly what it is. It's nonsense. I'm sure he'll come good. I'm still very, very confident.
I think he's going to bang. Right, let's talk about Mr. Andrea Bura and the squad depth that we've been building. This on the right-hand side, Charles, you can see 2 players in pretty much every position, and the likes of Max Daumann, Gabriel Jesus are actually still missing from this, and a number of people that we might be expecting to leave the club this summer. First of all, what are your thoughts on our new sporting director? I mean, we've seen all the stuff that's happening at Nottingham Forest. So, look, Edu has gone. He did the best job that he could, but we've had lots of comments in the Patreon group chats today. Ask Charles, how does he work differently to Edu? What are you most impressed by from Andrea Bura this summer?
I'm just impressed by how he's just got things over the line this summer. I think the Eze thing as well. And, I don't know for certain that Arsenal were kind of playing a bit of a game with Tottenham over Eze. I know that the Havertz injury kind of made it look like Arsenal definitely went for him because of the Havertz injury. I'm not convinced that is absolutely the case. I think he was playing a bit of a game with them, and I think that's certainly the impression I get from him, is that he is very, very professional. He knows kind of the dark arts of how to operate as well. And you're kind of seeing that it's kind of how a big club operates, isn't it? I don't think we've really done from Arsenal before, but letting someone else do all the negotiating, get the fee fixed, get the player done, and then bangs, the big club swoops in. And and pinches him off the small club, and that's exactly what happened with Eze. And yeah, I'm impressed by. We'll see what happens in the next 10 days, because it's not just about signing players; it's about selling players. And the big criticism leveled at Edu, who I think did a good job at Arsenal, by the way. I'm not going to sit here and criticise Edu. I think he played a key role in getting Arsenal to where they are at the moment. And the job that Andrea Bura has walked into is a good job because of what Edu did. But selling players was always an issue, and we haven't yet seen an improvement from that this summer. And it would be good to bring some money in. And I think it's vital they bring some money in because of the investment that they've put out on buying players. So I'm impressed by what he's done so far. He looks on paper like he's done a very good job. The squad is very, very strong, but the squad is now massive and it needs to be trimmed, and that's his job as well. So we'll see how he does over the next 10 days or so in that regards.
Selling players is difficult, though. When you're Arsenal Football Club and players are on high wages, they live in London, they're looked after by Arsenal the way that they are, and you know that better than most. Our friend Sam Dean was on a couple of weeks ago saying that there's not many clubs that players can go upwards. There's lots of clubs that players can go downwards, but those clubs aren't willing to pay fees and wages. And of course, the players are hesitant to leave such an amazing lifestyle, and the players that we're trying to get rid of, Fabio Vieira, a couple of unsuccessful loans, Sambi Lokonga, likewise, Zinchenko coming towards the end of a really lucrative sort of contract, got a year to go. There's no incentive for him to go. He could go and get a free transfer anywhere he wants in just 12 months time, 6 months time. So, it's a challenge. But do you feel
that's his job, isn't it? That is his job.
Well, I was just about to come on to it. Exactly.
Yeah,
is it fair to expect Andrea Bura to move players, on more effectively?
I think it's fair because it is his job at the end of the day. So I do think it's fair. I think sometimes there is a sort of unrealistic view on how much Arsenal can get for a lot of the players that they're selling. And I see it, and I get a lot of grief for it on my channel when I try and put sort of figures on the heads of some players, and I go, you're constantly undervaluing our players. You're part of the problem in terms of why we can't sell, because we're undervaluing players. I say it's not undervaluing it. It's just for the reasons you said. It's sometimes if you want to get a player on, you have to compromise a little bit. And Zinchenko is a great example. Tough player to sell, really tough player to sell. Got a year left in his deal. He knows if he sticks around, gets loads of money for the next year, and then he's going to have a lot of options as a free transfer that he might not have this summer. But look at someone like, and I don't want to sell Kivior particularly, but it feels like Arsenal need to bring some money in, and this is a summer where he's at his most sellable. If you don't sell him this summer, his value is only going to go one way, because I don't think he's going to get very many minutes this season. He might get some here or there, but it's pretty clear that he's behind Calafiori in the pecking order now, even at centre-back. I think Mosquera is going to be ahead of him, even potentially on that left-hand side as well. So it's a tough decision. You don't ideally want to sell a player, but his value is probably higher now than it ever will be. So sometimes you have to do things you don't really want to do and get some good money for him. And I do think he's a sellable player. Fabio Vieira, I think, is a sellable player as well. Not for the money we paid for him, but I think he could go and play pretty well at another club. And he's still young. He's not on massive wages. You've got to. I think he can get a deal done for him, and I just think they have to. So I think it's a big part of how he's going to be viewed at the end of this window.
Yeah, I think it's just about recouping as much as we can of any sort of initial outlay. Did you watch Mikel's press conference today? He sort of alluded to there maybe not being the end of transfer activity. Do you think there might be one more? Are we being too greedy?
I think we've definitely been too greedy. Well, no, I wouldn't say too greedy, because you always want one more, don't you, as a football fan? But look at that squad. Look at the sheer numbers that we've got in it. You mentioned there's no Dalman in there, who I genuinely think is going to be an option this season. I think we'll see him. Jesus could be back in a few months. You add those players into the mix. It's a big squad that is bursting at the seams. You think of the players who are going to have to be left out tomorrow, who were left out at Old Trafford. And you've added Eze to the mix since then. So it's a tough one. I would love one more. I would like, if Havertz is out for 3 months, it would be nice maybe to bring in, I would say, a loan sign in to sort of cover potentially. I see Vlad Des and Rodrigo. I just can't see it. I just can't see you sign Eze and then suddenly you go and sign Rodrigo as well.
Imagine.
I can't see it. I think if there's any new signing, it will have to be someone to cover the Havertz injury, because Eze, let's face it, doesn't really do that. But I can only imagine it'd be a loan, because you're not going to sign a permanent player and then Havertz comes back from injury, Jesus comes back from injury, you've just signed Gyökeres as well. It's like what happens there? Where it doesn't really make too much sense to me.
Another goal at West Ham, 3-1 to Chelsea now. West Ham are so bad, says Gunny Guna. What a shame. Right, on to the last question, the home straight. Charles, this is the big one. Have we done enough? Do we have enough to go on and win our first Premier League title in 20 years? And I guess couple it with your expectations for the season. You know, what would be a good season and what would be a season that would maybe warrant you thinking, do we think about life beyond Mikel?
I don't know. I mean, at some point, you've got to get over the line, haven't you? You do have to get over the line, but I don't. It's hard because it's the Premier League. How hard is it to win the Premier League? You know, Arsenal spent this money, and I've seen radio stations that I won't name clipped up on social media saying, no more excuses, no more. They have to win the title. It's like, well, it's not excuses. It's just Arsenal were comfortably second best last season, and the team who were ahead of them have spent more money than them this summer. So it's not like there's no divine right to win the Premier League. Do I think they're ready? Absolutely, they're ready. They are good enough to win the Premier League title, 100%. But so many things need to go your way over a 38-game season to win it. And look, if Arsenal absolutely flop, do terribly, then big questions to answer, obviously. And I think Arteta will be the person answering them himself, to be honest. I think if at the end of the season, if he fails completely to get a tune out of this team and this squad, then he'll be asking himself those questions. And I think it'll probably be more his decision than anyone else at some point if he decides that he's not the guy to take this club on. But I think they're ready. And I think they're good enough to do it. I think they've got an unbelievable goalkeeper. I think they've got the best defence, not just in England, but potentially in Europe. I think the midfield is brilliant. I think Eze is an absolute difference maker in terms of the attack. I'm expecting more from Saka this season. Hopefully, Gyökeres clicks and is superb. So if that all happens and it all comes together and we get luck with injuries, can we win the title? 100% we can win the title.
It's not just about, obviously, the Premier League. We've got to go stronger in the domestic cups. And, of course, the Champions League we were so close, but yet so far last season. What are you expecting on the cup front?
I would like to see a proper cup run. I have to say it's been too. I know we got to the semis last year in the Carabao Cup, but it'd be nice to see us go deep in the FA Cup. We've just not been good enough in that competition since we won it. So it'd be nice to have a proper go at it. And we've got the squad that can deal with it. You know, we've got a really, really strong squad. So I actually tipped in my season predictions. I predicted us to do the double this season. I said,
as in the double, the Premier League and the FA Cup, the original.
Yeah, I said semi-finals again in the Champions League. Okay. I said the OG double. I predicted us to win it. Hopefully, that's not going to be the kiss of death. But I really think we're good enough, and I think the time is now. I think the summer signings have been really, really good, and we're going to need a bit of luck. Of course, we are. And hopefully we have the luck that Liverpool had with injuries last season. If we do, then this squad can win trophies 100%.
Well, let's hope so. Listen, that's been a lot of fun. We've raced through that. We've rattled through it, but I know you've got other things to be doing tonight. And of course, the Premier League is on. Thoughts ahead of tomorrow? You're going with your dad, like you say, confident of a good performance and a good win? Yeah,
I am. I really, really am. I think it's going to be a good game. I think Leeds are a good team to play, actually, because I don't think they're going to be out and out low block. Leeds, I don't think they can really play that way under Farke. So I think it'll be a fun game. I think it'll be attacking, and it's 5:30 p.m. on a Saturday. I'm just really looking forward to it. It's been so long since I've been there, and I can't wait. Like I said, I'm going up. I mean, I'm sitting with my dad, but I'm going up with some mates before. David, I'm meeting him before, and a group of mates and stuff will be around the 12 pins, I imagine, for a few hours before the game, watching the Tottenham Man City match. So, yeah, I just can't wait. I'm really, really looking forward to it. Jumping out of bed in the morning, get the new shirt on, down the train station, and up to the Arsenal. It's been a long time, so I can't wait.
Oh, I'm glad you are a grown man like I who wears football shirts. It's fantastic. Listen, Charles, thank you so much for joining us tonight. There are hundreds of you watching live on YouTube right now. If you've enjoyed the content, it's a short one tonight. We had the late night lounge, of course, last night. Do subscribe to the channel. Drop a like on the video before you go as well. It's a massive help. We'll be back tomorrow with Oscar of All Leeds TV. Early morning start, 9 o'clock start in the UK to preview tomorrow's game. To join us for that. And then, of course, we'll have the match reaction straight after the match and maybe a late night lounge on Sunday evening. If anybody wants to follow Charles Watts, he is available at Charles_Watts. Charles, where can we find your channon?
Just on YouTube. Just searching my name, Charles Watts Arsenal, it will come up. And Patreon as well, if you want to do that. Come on board, growing community there, which is proving to be a lot of fun since we started it.
Phenomenal. It's a great community. Enjoy yourselves. Up the Arsenal. 3 points tomorrow, hopefully. Catch you guys in the morning. Sleep well. Bye for now.